Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 9 of Australian Survivor, Titans vs. Rebels, and there will be spoilers ahead. We open up on day 19 on the Rebels tribe.
So Mark is showing he doesn't want to show everyone that he's freaked out, so he's trying to stay calm. But it was very hard for him because he tried to vote out Caroline and it didn't work. And what a situation to be in.
And Caroline does not trust him. She pretends like she does, but obviously she doesn't trust him.
Well, what I don't understand, they got together and they were speaking, and Caroline is, kind of getting on Mark. But I'm thinking, wait a minute, Mark, why aren't you standing up for yourself? Because Caroline went after you first by voting off Viola, right?
I think the problem is that Mark went to Caroline after Viola was voted out, and he said, okay, I forgive you guys, let's work together. And Caroline hasn't done that yet.
Well, I don't know. Didn't she do it because they were supposed to be an alliance to begin with, right? She just got nervous because he was talking to the two Vs. I think she did a dishonest thing herself.
So she's trying to win the game. She's playing the game.
Yeah, well, she is doing a good job because
Right.
she is ruling that tribe. But
Right. She was playing low. She's keeping a low profile for a while, and now she's getting active.
which she sure is. So
And it was a really good move to vote out Viola because look how destabilized Mark has been these last few episodes without Viola. He doesn't have his number one person with him, and now he couldn't get the votes to send Caroline home last night, and Sarah went home instead. So I think it was a great move on Caroline's part, and I guess Mark probably is yelling and screaming, and neither is Caroline because they want to maintain some sort of civil relationship, even if they are both saying in their sound bites that they're lying to each other and they don't trust each other.
Well, what about Eden? Mark and Eden seem to be pretty close. They haven't shown any interaction between those two.
It seemed like there was a little tension yesterday in the previous episode when it came to voting.
With Eden?
Yeah, Eden and Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
It seems like Eden and Mark were friends at the beginning, and we really haven't seen their friendship or alliance really at all in the past few episodes. It's really just been Mark and Caroline communicating as spokespeople of the middle-aged mafia.
Yeah, I don't know. But Caroline has a little soundbite, and she says that Mark has to prove her trust, but she has other plans for him. So what are the other plans?
Yeah, to vote him out.
Yeah,
Probably.
That's what her plans are.
And then we go to a total opposite place, the
Right.
Titans. And Raymond is trying to get off his underwear while he has his pants on.
I think he's just a funny, crazy kid.
They seem to have a lot of fun over on the Titans tribe. Raymond's always up to something. And then later we see Raymond and Ferris hanging out in the ocean, and they're yelling to each other, hey, I have an idol, don't tell anyone. So I think they're just having fun. They're being silly, and so probably they haven't been to tribal in a couple nights. They're just feeling good and enjoying the great weather that they're having.
Yes. So it's weird because Ferris says Kelly is really quiet, and he thinks that she has an idol.
Right, and then we see that shot of her come up and put something into her bag, and it looked like it could be the size of an idol. And it has everyone wondering, does she have one? Does she have one?
Well, she tells Kirby that she did bring things that would look like an idol. So she was thinking ahead of prior to getting to the island.
Yeah, so I don't know if she intentionally put something in her bag to make people think that she had an idol, or if she just slipped something in and Ferris took it the wrong way. But for whatever reason, Ferris has this idea that Kelly has an idol, and Kelly and Kirby are leaning into it. They figured, why not cause chaos and set everyone off, having no idea what Kelly's going to do.
It's an interesting idea, putting a rock in your bag and making it seem like you have an idol and playing suspicious, but I'm not sure in the long run it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I think it could be helpful if Kelly was on the chopping block that night and she wanted to get the votes off of her and onto someone else. It might be a good idea to have a fake idol, but at this stage, she's not in danger. So I don't think it really was
Right.
intentional. I think it just happened and they leaned into it.
She was in danger a few episodes ago, but now she's not in danger.
Right.
Yeah, she's in a great spot. Nate hadn't come up, well, barely.
Well, what about the reward challenge? I really like this. The spelling bee.
Right. something different this time. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for this challenge, there's a bunch of painted coconuts in a square in the beach. And the players have to, they hear a word, and 2 individuals from each tribe go through and find the coconut of their color, either blue or pink, for Titans and Rebels. And each coconut has a letter. They have to gather the letters and spell the word back on the beach.
For what? They're all excited.
The reward was a Mexican feast.
Yes, everyone was very excited about that. But I have to say, it was kind of funny because you hear Kelly say, I can spell, and then Garrett says, we can all spell here, Kelly. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah,
Right.
Kelly was trying to show her strength to the tribe and get herself in the challenge, and it seems like they weren't very impressed. And actually, it was kind of funny because then the very first challenge, the word is salsa. And so Garrick's running around, he's putting letters up, and Kelly comes back to the beach with a coconut with the letter A. She already sees an A on the board that Garrick put, and she tosses it aside.
Throws it down. Yeah.
We don't need that.
Yeah.
We don't need 2 A's. Yes, you do need 2 A's.
Yeah.
So
that was
eventually
funny.
she figured it out. She put it back on. And of course, it makes sense being out on an island for 19 days
Sure.
with very little food and
Yeah,
poor
right.
sleep. So we certainly can't fault Kelly for that. But it was funny that she had just bragged about her ability to spell. So Garrick does a great job in that first round.
Yes.
He takes it for the
Or
Rebels.
salsa.
He got all 5 letters.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
it's
very
very
good.
I mean,
very good.
Yeah, it was a shutout. That
And
first
then
one.
the second word was chili. Chili, excuse me.
And this one, we saw Mark get a little bit creative with his challenge skills. So the goal is for everyone just to gather the coconuts and get back to the beach. And Mark starts kind of like blocking people, pushing them over. and
Tackling them, putting them
Yeah, I
underwater.
was really surprised, but Jonathan said, it's okay, it's allowed. I'm
Right.
like, wow.
I guess that's part of Survivor. Outwit, outlast, outplay includes being creative and stopping your opponents however you need to.
Tackling them underwater.
Yeah.
So at the end, he throws the one
Yeah.
coconut, like he faked it.
Yes, that was
Right?
pretty
He had
cool.
2. He threw the one.
Yeah,
They
it
all
was like
went
being
for
at
it.
watching a football game, how he did that. He's the
Right.
quarterback. Yeah, did a fake. That was great.
Then he runs down the sideline, scores, and wins the word.
Yes.
Wins chili.
So good job, Mark. That was a fun challenge to see him in. Then finally, our third word is tortilla. So this one's a little bit harder to spell, I guess, if you're just trying to think quickly and you haven't had food in a long time. And the Titans were able to take the win, and they spelled tortilla the fastest, and they win the Mexican feast.
Yes.
Right.
So, Matt, I was thinking about you as I watched that because it was interesting. Why everyone didn't get to play again?
Right.
Like you said, every individual should have a chance. And as a matter of fact, some people went twice.
Right.
So I don't know. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I saw winner win twice.
It does seem like it should be part of the rule that you have to only play once. I think it makes sense that they can't make everyone go per round because the challenges would just go on forever. But I think repeats before everyone's had a chance shouldn't be allowed.
Right. They should have just whittled the teams down so there was an even number of players on each team, and then say, okay, everybody has to play, pick a partner, and then you're going to go. And at the end of 4 words, 6 words, whatever it would be, the winners will win it.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I liked the new challenge. It was fun.
Right.
And then when we get to the feast,
Everyone's enjoying their Mexican food, and we hear from Valeria that she's actually never been to a Mexican restaurant before. So hopefully she enjoyed the Mexican food. It looked like they had some great tacos, chips, margaritas. It looks like they had a really nice time.
well, they were focusing on tortillas because she said she kept saying that word. She didn't even know what that meant. I thought when they kept focusing on that plate that there was a hidden
Clue.
a clue, correct. And there wasn't.
Right.
So that was interesting.
A key to a box that's hidden under some leaves or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. We actually never came back to Ferris having that key to the box. I wonder if he gave it to anyone or if he just left it and forgot.
Right.
You're right. They didn't conclude that.
Maybe he still has it.
He still has the key, but the key doesn't do anything. I guess.
Yeah.
But the box
he
was
doesn't know
never
that.
found by. They never revisited the box being underground and being ripped apart.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. So then we saw the 3
Original Titans.
in the water.
So Winna, Charles, and Valeria are the 3 original Titans who are now on the new Titans tribe, and they're in the minority. But as we've noticed these past few episodes, there's some very obvious cracks, and that is between Kirby and Ferris. They really aren't getting along, and it seems like everyone on the tribe has kind of chosen sides, and these 3 OG Titans get to be the deciding factor.
And they want to stick together. They're not going to split each other up. They don't want to split apart like it looked like last night.
Which is great news. So they're the minority, and they're going to have the swing vote.
Yeah, a big power.
Right, because when you first get put onto a tribe like that and you're the minority, you're thinking, oh boy, we're going to be the first ones off. And here they are, still there.
Yeah, and they got pretty lucky.
Yes.
And I think it's a good idea to stick together. I think that if they were to split up, their votes don't count for as much, and they end up being, the last person on the list rather than the last 3, I guess, in the new alliance. And if they stick together, the 3 of them have each other as more voting power. So I think that's a great idea.
And it's also interesting because, like the other 3 last night, Alex was he was trying to keep them together, but they weren't really together.
Right.
Yeah, Sarah and Rihanna.
Yeah, so these group.
Alex was okay in leaving the group.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And staying in the game.
And then we go over to the immunity challenge.
So for this challenge, each of the players have a 27-kilogram barrel that they're holding up from an elevated position, and the barrel's hanging down over a ledge. And 27 kilograms is about 57 pounds, we discovered, for our U.S. system listeners. So it seems pretty heavy, a pretty significant amount of weight. And this is similar to other challenges that we've seen in the past, where each player has to hold onto their barrel, and if they drop out, they must give their barrel to another player, who then has to hold 2 or up to 3, however many they can handle. And if anyone drops their bucket, even during a transition, if any barrel touches the ground, the entire tribe is out, and they are going to tribal council that night.
So that's pretty difficult. That everybody it's all down to the first person. It's a lot of pressure.
Right. Well, the first person out was Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems to be a recurring theme that she is not pulling her weight in challenges, literally this time, but she's definitely a beast in the strategic realm. She really knows how to do blindside, but challenge-wise.
Well, talking about a beast, I can't believe Kitty, her body is so nice. I just can't believe how muscular she was.
Her arms were really muscular.
Toned.
She seems very strong.
Yeah,
right.
So that was nice. Just interesting to see. And then it looked like Garrick was having some trouble.
Yeah, but he held on for a pretty long time. It looked like at the very beginning, Garrick looked like he was about to drop at any second. And he made it pretty far. I think he was the last person to drop out before.
Well, I was surprised he had 2 at the end.
Yeah.
Right? He was having trouble holding 1 before the 10-minute or 20-minute mark, and then the thing is 15 minutes.
Can you believe it? They made it to 20 minutes, and at that point, they were transferring
Caroline.
Yeah, so over on the Rebels tribe, Jaden and Alex were sharing Caroline's extra weight. They were kind of passing it between themselves. Obviously, Jaden is a strength powerhouse, and he was able to do that pretty well. And then over on the Titans tribe, people dropped out a bit more quickly. So Valeria dropped out. I think at one point, Aileen ended up dropping out. Garrick dropped out at the last second. But Charles stayed in it until the end. He had 2 barrels, which was really impressive. And it looked like his old tribe mates were cheering him on, even from the opposite tribe.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting, though, because Garrett did make it to 50 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's
awesome.
Right.
So it was a really tight race, but overall the Titans ended up just having too many people holding on to 2 barrels. They couldn't take a break. At the end, Kirby was holding 2, and she said, I can't take it anymore, handed 1 off to Ferris. He was holding 2, everyone else had 2, and he said, I can't take it either. Let's drop. So that's how they ended up losing the challenge. They all dropped at the same time. And in celebration on the Rebel side, Jaden lifted up his barrel and did like multiple lifts just for fun.
Crazy,
Right. As though it was nothing.
Off.
Yeah. Right. So the Titans are heading to tribal council.
In a change of events, it's been a couple nights since they've been there. So back at the beach,
Aileen gets to hold everyone together and says, let's stick together. Whatever was in the past, forget about it. We need to stick together. Let's vote out one of those 3. Do not vote against each other.
Right.
Vote an
old OG Titan.
And it was hard to get everyone even to agree. Kirby really wouldn't say. She was like, well, I don't think Ferris is going to do it. And Ferris is like, yeah, it's fine. I'll do it. And I don't know. Everyone was very wishy-washy.
Right. So what do you think? Would Ferris have done it if Kirby had said, absolutely, let's do it?
I don't think so. I think Ferris and Kirby are both such big competitors that they know that, the second you relax is the second your enemy will strike.
Right. Garrick seemed very...
Oh, he was mad.
Right. Insistent.
Yeah, that he had to
Kirby
get Kirby
goes home.
Yeah, he
Right.
was just something else.
And it's interesting to see how upset Garrick really was, because when we think back on what caused this giant rift between Kirby and Ferris, so way back at the beginning when the Cuddle Crew was in full swing on the original Rebels tribe, Kirby had planned to vote off one of the members of the Cuddle Crew, but she and Rihanna decided to flip their vote, knowing that the Cuddle Crew would go home, but wanting to seem like they were voting and kind of playing both sides. So it wasn't even a genuine flip from our perspective as the audience. It was really like a strategic playing both sides. But this seems to have really, really carried over for Ferris and Garrick. They are completely unable to get past it and really holding on to this grudge.
Well, I got nervous because I'm thinking, I really like Ferris and I like Kirby as well. And I don't want either of them to go. And I hate how they're fighting against each other. I just wish they're two powerhouses, and I guess they can't be together, but I sure wish they could.
I don't see them coming together.
No, I don't either.
Right. Somebody's going to win and someone's going home.
Right. Well, then you see Raymond. He's talking to Kelly.
I know.
Raymond and Kelly are kind of just hanging out. They said they haven't really had too many chats yet, but probably people will come up to them at the end and, we'll just see where it goes. Let's play dumb.
Yeah.
But then he tells her to save her idol and don't play it for Kirby.
Right.
And right when he said that, Kelly thinks, oh, something's up, right? He just said don't play it for Kirby. So she even says, so you guys are going to vote for Kirby? And then
It's off to the races.
Raymond's like, oh, no. He didn't want to say. So I think, unfortunately, he spilled the beans.
Well, it was funny how he said, play your idol. I don't even want to know if you have an idol, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to see Raymond and Kelly. They had such a fun bond. They seem to really enjoy each other's company and get along quite well, but they're not on the same side of this, major
Division.
rift.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that they're remaining friends. They're having fun together despite their differences.
I can see Raymond going well into the merge.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
He's just like,
Yeah.
hey, man.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Bouncing along.
He seems to do well at getting other people to enjoy his company. I
Right.
think that's really important in
Right.
Survivor.
Like taking off his underwear with his pants off.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're off to see what's going to happen. And there's all this talk about if Kelly has an idol, is she going to play it? Do we need kind of like a contingency? All of this stuff. And the OG Titans are now kind of in the deciding factor. So they've been saying that they think that Kirby is more trustworthy, and they're leaning towards going with her. Ferris is kind of viewing these conversations, and he's walking up to Winna saying, like, are you guys going to vote with her? And everyone's kind of trying to suss out who's voting for who. And it sounds like, from what we're hearing, that the Titans are wanting to go with Kirby.
Correct.
So then Aileen comes up with another one of her genius plans. She always seems to know what's going on in the game. So she says that, what about if Kelly plays an idol for Kirby? Do we need to have like a contingency plan? So she comes up with the idea that she will put one vote on Kelly. So that way, if there's two idols played, if Ferris plays an idol and Kelly plays an idol for Kirby, there needs to be a third name out there. Otherwise, everyone goes to a revote and they lose their power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like Aileen. She's really, really thinking everything through. And I wish people...
Right. She's very intelligent.
Yeah. So then we get to tribal.
And this is quite the tribal council. Ferris kind of kicks us off talking about how there's the difference between paranoia and naivety. And I think that really encompasses the game of Survivor, because we've seen so many players end up going home only because at the very beginning of the show, they could not get their paranoia in check, and they just were totally freaking out and weren't able to play a strong game.
And actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, well then, so Kirby shouts out that Ferris is paranoid. He's like, I'm not paranoid.
Right.
I just like looking at those two going back and forth.
Right. Arguing about who voted which way. And
Yeah, they seem like siblings kind of arguing.
right.
So on this conversation of paranoia and Ferris is calling out Kirby for being a flipper, Kirby says that really it was Ferris and Aileen who were flipping because Aileen got everyone to promise that everyone was staying Rebels strong, and Kirby heard that Ferris was not going to do that, which is why she is now coming after Ferris. So I think that's kind of...
There was just a lot of tension there. It just felt very uncomfortable for a few of them, you know what I mean, while they're sitting there with Kirby.
The three who are outsiders, they loved it.
Right, yeah. They're
learning a lot about what was going on, right? Prior to them attending.
Right, which is just going to make them weaker, the new Titans weaker.
Yeah.
When it comes time for the merge.
So Garrick is really picking up on what's going on here. He whispers to Ferris, I don't think I'm safe. I think they're coming for me. He's really, really worried, which great perception because they are going after him.
Yeah, how did he know that?
I think so. We know that Ferris has an idol because he's been yelling it around at the beach. And so it would only make sense for him to play his idol tonight for himself because he is a smart player and he wants to save himself. So Kirby knows this, and so she's thinking, let's take out his second-hand man, and we'll take out Garrick to weaken Ferris.
I guess Garrick figured it out himself also.
Yeah, I think it seems like a reasonable plan that we've seen happen in the past when the biggest threat has an idol. So he was able to connect the dots, and it is his job. He, as he says, he smells rats in the stores and finds people.
Right, shoplifters. So then Aileen says you need to play your idol.
Yeah,
Tells Ferris,
she knew.
Play your idol for Garrick. Play your idol for Garrick.
Yeah, this is
Two
a
or three
woman
times.
who seems to figure out everything.
Right.
And Ferris
she
just
looked-
stood there. Ferris just he was like...
He didn't make eye contact at all. So very interesting how that will shake out tomorrow night. So
Right.
no one plays an idol. Kelly and Kirby are whispering, pretending like maybe they'll play an idol, which was their plan all along to freak everyone out, probably to flush Ferris's idol on himself. But
Right. It would have worked, though. Well,
Yeah.
after we see the votes, and then we count the votes, and
we see that,
Garrick's going home.
yeah, so...
it was so crazy because Aileen told them. I mean,
yeah,
she even said, didn't she even say, I told you so?
Yeah.
I think she did.
Right.
I think Aileen should be with Kirby and her tribe because I feel like they would respect Aileen a little bit more and listen to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Ferris and Garrick are not. Well, I guess Garrick is, but Ferris isn't really taking into account her thoughts as much.
Right. I don't think he values her knowledge.
Yeah.
Right.
But one funny thing that we noticed at the end of the episode as the votes were being read, Kirby was correcting her spelling of her name.
Oh, that was funny,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Good for her.
Yeah, Raymond drew a little character on his vote, and I saw on his Instagram story today that he said it was some old video from 12 years ago with Oatmeal and Kirby, the Mario player, the Pokemon player. So good for him for sneaking his jokes in there.
Well, she knew immediately it was him.
Right.
She looked at thanks, Raymond.
Yeah, she thanked him for the vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was fun. I mean,
Right.
it was. It's too bad that Garrick's leaving, but I guess that's the game.
Right.
Yeah, but he played a great game. He knew it was coming, but wasn't able to stop it. So good job, Garrick, and everyone else for taking on another blindside.
It's not looking good for Ferris right now.
No,
No, not at all.
But let me say another thing about Garrick. He was also very strong.
Right.
So they just lost another. You have that
Right.
Jaden on the other team who is just incredibly strong. I think you need strong people.
Right. And Garrick was holding on to two of those
yeah.
barrels at the end of the competition.
Yeah. So
But so was Ferris and Kirby. So
Yeah,
who
they
were they
were.
going
Right.
to vote out?
oh yeah,
You know, anyone who was on the chopping block tonight was
very
going to-
strong.
Right.
Yeah.
They
they're
should have
gonna
just been
straight
going
to
after the
Marcus.
old guys. Not the old guys, but you know what I mean? The OG
Yeah.
Titans.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of the safe three, they should have been on the chopping block 3.
Correct. Well, anyway, another interesting episode. Love this season. I absolutely love it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's really exciting. You never know at the beginning of the season how you're going to feel, but I feel like we know the players really well, and they're all thinking ahead and making big moves. So that's really exciting to see.
Right. Good characters.
Correct.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us for this next week or for this third week of Australian Survivor, Titans versus Rebels. We'll be back next week on Sunday, and in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram at ATASurvivor. We have a few Instagram polls going on right now. We'd love your opinions. Go over and vote. We're also on TikTok at ATASurvivor, and you can send us an email at ATAustralianSurvivor@gmail.com. or give us a call at 475-4-podcast. Thanks, and see you next week.
Bye.